I'm on a quest to get every single Final Fantasy XIV trophy. This is going to take thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours to do, and I don't have time for that. So I have given myself 2 years, or 730 days. There's no time like the present, so let's get on with it. After doing the Crystal Tower in the previous video, it's still day 4, so let's get on with Post-A Realm Reborn. Bad news, this one's a slog because of the cutscenes. Good news, I'm skipping the cutscenes because, you know, there's a time limit on this thing. It starts with Moogle escorting duty before heading straight into the first instance of the quest chain, Thorn March. This one used to be a ball ache from what I remember, but things change. It's just a case of killing the small annoying Moogles and their AoE nonsense, and then killing the big annoying Moogle with his and the small annoying Moogle's AoE nonsense. The Good King does go down, and after about half an hour of running around, I get a realm awoken. There's more running around to do though as I go around Uldar and Laminza like a headless chicken, before it's time to take on Leviathan on the Wall Eater. I assume that's how you pronounce it. By the way, doesn't Leviathan look amazing in this graphical update? I slap the Sea Serpent silly by hitting the head because I'm ranged magic damage. Then the ads appear and bad habits seem to set in because people think we can take down Leviathan without taking down the ads, and I think the nerfs have really messed with people's perception of damage. We took too long as a party to deal with them, and at one point the shield was actually below the threshold required for it to be effective. But we came up clutch in the end, and slowly but surely the legendary Long Noodle goes down. A bit more skipping cutscenes, and that's through the Maelstrom pot. I beat up some immigrants because, of course I do, apparently we're very xenophobic. And then it's time to take on Ramuh at the Striking Tree. Now, the old man by himself isn't really a threat, but the chip damage from the ads is kind of annoying. As I mentioned in the previous fight, the ads are taking less damage, so it's actually prolonging the fights. But honestly, I'm okay with that. Like, the fights are a lot more engaging than I previously remember. Luckily, I didn't get chosen as a tether target. I knew what to do, but I didn't want the added pressure, to be honest. After that, this guy had heard that I took on a couple of gods and thought he could go toe-to-toe with me, with his friend. They could not. Once that's done, I recruit some undesirables for a new army. What could possibly go wrong with that? And I get Defenders of Eorzea, which wraps up day 4. Day 5 starts, and I'm fighting on 2 fronts, trimming the front lines of both the Empire and the Heretics. It's the Heretics I'm interested in first though, and it's time to enter Snowcloak, the first dungeon of Post-A Realm Reborn. And the first boss goes down with barely a whimper. The tank's pulling like Callum Best in a nightclub. Yes, I know, niche reference. The Yeti and his snowballs and donuts are slightly annoying. Another DC didn't help, but it also didn't stop us, and that one went down. And then the final stop is this overgrown wolf thing with his icicles and his howling. And honestly, thank God for the new dash mechanic so that I don't get punished for my bad positioning. It's nice to have a get out of jail free card. Thanks, Dawn Trail. The action doesn't stop though, because it's time for Ak-Afar Amphitheatre. This one's pretty simple. It's Shiva with her swords, staves, and ice soldiers. The Ice Queen steps on us, then we step on her and win the fight. After dealing with a traitor once and for all, I grab the Dreams of Ice trophy. Minfilia is somehow both at Rising Stones and Waking Sands simultaneously. Don't ask me how. She's clearly learned teleportation magics. And before I could go any further, I need to kill the initial primal trio of Ifrit, Titan, and Garuda on hard mode now. Ball of Ember's hard is just as easy as the original in my opinion. It's nice to see Ifrit in all his infernal glory. There's just 4 nails instead of 1, and a charge mechanic, and sometimes 3 charge mechanics. Other than that, it's a nice, gentle intro to 8-man trials. Next up, Howling Eye Hard. I show off my ability to hide behind rocks, destroy ads, and not stand in massively telegraphed AoEs. Good one, me. But it's the Naval Hard that gets my goat. There's lots of earthquakes, landslides, jails, bombs, and it becomes hard to target things when there's lots of ads everywhere that don't really take damage. So switching between healing and dealing damage to the boss became quite the obstacle to overcome on controller, and honestly, that was quite flustering, but we got the job done eventually. Then it's time for the second and final dungeon of the chain, the Keeper of the Lake. There's massive mechs, dastardly dragons, frogs, for some reason. The first boss is Big Bird and his boisterous blasting bombs. Just avoid the glowy ones, it's not that hard. Then there was this warship that shits out fire, and all you have to do really is avoid the fire being shat out. That seems pretty simple, because it is. And finally, the Midgard Zolom. Midgard Zorma. Which is basically a Dance Dance Revolution fight, except I avoid the glowing floor. Mostly. But wait, there's more. It's time for the Chrysalis. I think that's how you pronounce it. And oh no, Minfilia is in trouble. Whatever will I do? Oh no. The first cycle of orbs appears, and you know you have to run into the light one and then the dark one, but everyone collectively turns their brain off and we nearly wipe. Then the party remember that mechanics aren't just for cars, and our collective IQ goes into the triple digits, and it's pretty much smooth sailing from there. There is one mechanic where if I cast Medica 2 at the right time, the buff lasts for 2 minutes instead of 20 seconds. The other healer nailed this, I did not. Luckily, in the second phase, the tanks tank the meteors correctly. The melee DPS even level 3 limit breaks the ethereal tear like a pro. And Nabrialis goes down, resulting in Before the Fall Part 1 popping. Alright, final stretch. I go all St. George on these dragons. I'd make a Game of Thrones reference, but I've never seen a single episode. I stop Tataru from doing something incredibly stupid. Speaking of Game of Thrones, something unimportant happens that I skip past because I want to get to the end of this video, which results in Before the Fall Part 2. 11 trophies down, 168 to go. It's on to Heavenswood, but that, my friends, is a story for another day.